Hey, welcome to Upstate Eats. I'm your host, Katrina Lee, and we are Rochester Free Radio, 106.3, rochesterfreeradio.com. You can find Upstate Eats on YouTube, Upstate Eats YouTube. You can find us on Facebook, Upstate Eats, and we are also on Instagram, Upstate underscore New York State Eats. So lots and stuff are going on. I'm super, super excited. I went to the Sysco food show, which was at Bosch and Lom at the old building, the Winter Garden, which is ran by Monroe's. And I guess they have a lot of wedding events there. And it was just amazing. I've never been there. It's a gorgeous venue, all glass to the top, multiple levels. And they had the trees, and they were like decked out with like lights that dropped down, and like it was pretty cool. I've been to food shows for years. I've always worked in hotel restaurant management or dated hotel restaurant owners, or married them. So I've been to several of them, but it was my first time going to the Sysco food show in Rochester. Now, Sysco has its headquarters, and it's in Buffalo. So they have an event that they also do in, I'm sorry, it's in Syracuse, not in Buffalo. But they do an event. Gary, you're breathing really heavy on the mic. They have an event that they also do in Buffalo where you can go and they have the chefs there and you can try all the different food and they'll cook for you and kind of cook and reason to order because they want you as restaurant owners to see what's available and to be able to make and create the same concoctions they are, or just to make as much money because the more that the restaurants make, that means the more food's being sold. That means the vendors and the distributors and reps are making more, and therefore, like, it's kind of win-win. The company is making more. So the more successful their training is that helps you, the better they do. So you go to the Syracuse one and you can actually take a tour of their warehouse, and that's a pretty cool event. And my friend who owns a Charlotte Tavern was going to go to that one, was invited, and his name's John Reynolds, and it's an awesome place. I'm going to be helping do and cover some shifts over there. So they post me on Facebook and say, hey, come visit me. I'm serving and cooking up. I'm doing all different things. I'm helping with promotions. So I'm really like, have a lot of cool ideas. We're going to start adding some paint nights. We're going to add some of those, like where you make like herbal crafts, or like do you paint like a wine glass around the holidays and it's got like a cardinal or something. Build up the bar and just bring in new customers and clientele, because he sank a lot of money and revamped it, and it went from more like an old man's like kind of bar food style bar to having lobster French and a whole bunch of other like unique specialties. Like today I had some duck. They had black and mahi mahi tacos last week. Ongoing different specials, different pizzas. Doing a lot in the wood fire grill with smoke in the oven. I mean, not grill, with smoking wings, and just, I mean, it's just spectacular. So another person that I went to the food show already did the tour with Cisco in Buffalo, but you don't go to their warehouse. Is the same thing with the chef, and is Donald Burkus, Chef Don, and he's worked in, owned MTK Prime, Butterwood, like Chocolate Bar, like a whole bunch of different restaurants. Worked at Harry's, like pretty much top of the line chef. Traveled all over. He currently helps out at the Quarter, which is New Orleans style, and I went there this week also, and that was amazing. I had a shrimp at a toff, which was just, oh, it was just to die for. And he made a smaller portion for me, which was nice because it was like late at night and I wasn't starving. So I love it. Always impressed. Brandon Carr and Ian Carr. Ian helps distribute liquor also in Rochester. Always put on a good entertainment, great people, staff. They started making these cool little shot glasses, which are little skeleton skulls, and they're like one of a kind because he's making himself as he's watching TV, and they're like, casting it. And they had them as like a specialty, but because it's the Quarter, it's going to be around ongoing there. It's not just a Halloween thing. All the clubs, bars have Halloween events, but Don was up there also. So I had a good time with him and with John and introduced them to each other. So there could be some different, ideas crossing of as like wonderful, like-minded minds kind of connect, which was awesome. So you get into the Cisco food show as invite only. You have to be like a Cisco customer, and you sign up, and then you start going table to table, and they just give you samples and food of like everything. Like you just eat and eat and eat, and it's all the brand new vendors or just same vendors, and like what they're trying to encourage you as like their best sellers. They have specials. I got pretty much full-size sauces from Ken's, and they had yogi, salsa, rocha, which I grabbed. I got Sweet Baby Ray's. They had like secret sauce, all different of those. Where you get all the meat, like the seafood, like just all top line, the clams, whatever's new, and you just go table to table. And there was one where they had alcoholic ice cream. So they had like an apple malt cider. They had raspberry wine. They had a beer one. Didn't really have a lot of ice cream as being lactose intolerant, but my friend loved the raspberry wine. And I can just see with the malt cider, the ice cream, having like a apple cobbler and like throwing the ice cream next to it, and maybe like a pumpkin butter drizzled on top for like a high end restaurant. Oh my gosh, they'd be just like spectacular, especially if it was warmed or even cooked in front of you. The apple like cobbler. Oh, I love. Oh my gosh, I gotta actually find someone to make it for me, because I'll go there and I'll bring people and I'll post it on Facebook and let everyone know, because that is like gonna be like a big draw, especially with fall. The foliage and everything's changing. It's just amazing. So like you just eat, 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 eat. Talk to vendors. They give you ideas on new things. A lot of the restaurants are starting to add keto menus for the keto diet. So they had protein noodles. I know there's one thing the Charlotte Tavern was specifically interested in. And Don's representing Mercado, which is going to be in the Niagara Falls Factory Outlet Mall. And it's going to be like a whole food court experience like I Square in Rochester. So he literally had like every vendor talking to him, because there's going to be so many different styles of food in this food court, and it's more an upscale, upgraded one, not like the old cafeterias back in the day where it's like McDonald's and Burger King and maybe Long John Silver's. Like these are local like vendors, wood fired pizzas, pasta, obviously, basic stuff for kids too. I mean, you can get everything. So it's like the future and the direction a lot of us are turning as malls are closing. They're trying to add better food to draw people in. At 5:30, the show started at 3 o'clock. At 5:30, it's turned into like cocktail and hors d'oeuvre hours. So after, on top of eating tons and tons of food and samples and just being wined and dined upstairs and given free gifts from the vendors, you then go downstairs, which is another just experience in itself. And they had giant trays and stations set up with charcuterie at the one with all this meat and antipasti. Like they had all the olives and the pickled peppers and this new, they're called teardrop naan. So they're smaller pieces of naan, which is amazing, with like hummus and vegetable dips and all different. Like it's really creative. And while that's not keto, you can do a lot of stuff with it on your menu, especially like for more bar food or Indian restaurants. It was like delicious. I never had it. It was my first time. I've had naan before at Wegmans, but not the teardrop, more snack size one. Then there's another just all cheese, like just tons and tons of cheese. And then a whole dessert of all these new Italian desserts that they put out, and truffles that they want to start carrying and they want you to start picking up in your restaurants. Then after a while, they open the buffet, and then it's a full-on dinner buffet on top of all that food that you had. And you got wine and beer for free. All that was like open bar, but you had to pay for liquor, which is fine. I mean, I'm really not into drinking spirits there, and no one really seemed to be going nuts on the alcohol. It wasn't shots or anything, and they weren't special like craft cocktails, so it wasn't really sampling like the newest wineries or anything there. It was specifically like Sysco food products, and that really doesn't include any liquor. It was just amazing. It was like everyone was so stuffed, no one even really ate too much of the buffet. But it had like two types of salad, obviously bread. They had a walnut chicken. They had lamb chops. They had the finger laying potatoes. That was good. Brussels sprouts. I mean, it was a top of the line whole presentation. It was a very good event. I ran into a lot of restaurant owners and chefs from Buffalo that I known from the Steer, the Millennium Hotel. I ran into a bunch from Rochester, which is great. I met a lot of vendors I knew through the years through working at Ricotta's Pizza, at Pharaoh's, other venue restaurants, the Mirage that came in and we placed orders with, because Sysco kind of is inside every restaurant there is. So that, I mean, it was just a great time, great networking opportunity, great people. I'm looking forward to being able to, I talked to the one vendor, and she's going to start directing some of the restaurant owners onto our show so we can do more food reviews and have them as interviews. And I talked to some people from a blog that's new in Rochester on what's going on in all the restaurants, and you can like put it in and it directs you. And they're going to come on the show and talk about it. Upcoming, we have Lucas. I wasn't there, I missed it, and I'm not sure how to say it, but Marsali and Gary, one of the producers, went and he did the restaurant review because I was in a car accident. But that went well. They're going to be on the 7th. We added on the prior show that we had that was dealing with the bills, and that's got a good reach so far, and that's on YouTube. So check it out, Upstate Eats. We're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit more about the food venue. We're going to talk about Austria and like the two different samples of food we had from our international Yums box. And we will be talking a little bit of some of the upcoming restaurant closings and some of the new openings that are occurring. So check us out. We are Upstate Eats at rochesterfreeradio.com. Hey, welcome back. We're Upstate Eats, and I'm your host, Katrina Lee. You can find me on Facebook. I have two accounts. One's Katrina Lee, Katrinalee, and that's more funny, perverted, lots of food pictures. I post everything on both accounts public. And I have another page, which is Katrina Leely, Leelee Connected. And on that page, it's more like part of the rehab groups, charity stuff I'm involved with. Positive, like talks about dealing with domestic abuse and negativity, kind of talking about life's all up, downs, all arounds. So this show is growing. I have a lot of fun stuff in store, and we're getting better and better. We take an article and we post it and we put in Rochester Woman Magazine. We have a very strong, growing over 16,000. And this show's only been on like 3 months. Facebook friends and fans. And we just post a lot of pictures of restaurants and news upcoming. So one thing I did notice this week, RIP to Rockies. It used to be Dave and Buster's in the Eastern Hills Mall. I used to live right in the back of Clarence, and I loved it. I used to go with my ex all the time, and we would just go play the games when it first opened. That was like our neighborhood bar. Great food. They had specials, and then Dave and Buster's moved to the Galleria Mall, so they thought they could like kind of target off of it, and they never were able to. So it became Rockies. And like they tried, they just didn't have like the right games. They really didn't get good prizes. It really couldn't compete with Dave and Buster's. Dave and Buster's has like the national coupons. They really didn't offer anything like that. I did have my former stepson's birthday party there, and I did a great job. And they did well because they knew him from the clubs and wanted to impress him. But I mean, it was basic like kid food, hot dogs and like hamburgers and chicken fingers. Like I brought all the cakes, I did all the decor, I did all the real work. They did have like a cool kind of fake looking security guard who would like kind of talk and would breathe, and people would come up thinking he was sleeping, and it would like surprise them when it kind of move animatronic. And they did get bumper cars in some of these games, but they never were able to be successful. And it's like the mall culture is just closing. Like, so people aren't going to malls too much anymore. So it's only like the strongest surviving, and this like the Galleria or in Rochester is like the Victor Mall, where like kind of everyone ends up going. But between the internet sales, TJ Maxx, all this stuff, like no one goes anymore and hand stuff. They just don't have the time. But I like going to places and seeing things I want to pick up. I just don't like the mall anymore. So I do go to TJ Maxx, I go to Kohl's, and most of these stores kind of combined everything, and they have all these specials and sales that lure you in. And I don't know, we're more a throwaway society anyways. I like getting things everyone else doesn't have. So when I go on vacations is more when I'd shop, like go to Caesar's Palace, the Forum shops, or I really got into like consignment thrift shopping and like going to Goodwill and finding like awesome dresses for like $5, maybe I wear it once and then like flipping it. I know my labels. I know what's valuable or not. I know the quality of fabric. So that's just a little hobby of mine. And it kind of, a lot of places are changing and closing. So that's why it's neat that they're turning more to like these kind of, cafeteria style mix of everything, but kind of one owner runs it. There's like one person cashing out, so there's not all these vendors at them all. So I don't know, it's different. So RIP Rockies. I am disappointed that they're not standing back and refunding the extra money that's left on the cards. They didn't give anyone notice. They tried doing a nightclub and that failed. My friend and Ryan or Sean, who used to be on this show, along with my one intern who was doing it, worked over there for a little bit, and that kind of failed. They got in trouble hookahs. It wasn't done right. And they tried bringing Mooney's, which is very established for their all different, like, I don't even need it. I just blanked on the name. They have all different macaroni and cheese.
Cheeses, yeah.
All different special ones, like all different flavors, lobster mac and cheese, huge portions. They open like one is successful, and then next thing you know, there's like 30 of them, but that's the one that truly failed. So they're saying it closed Rockies because that Mooney's wasn't paying them money. They owed it. Then they tried holding it back and they wouldn't give them the games because they owed all this money towards the rent and let them out. So then I guess they had to take down the front window and get the Amherst police involved. And it was like, I guess, a spectacle. But I had like over 20,000 tickets, which stinks because if I knew it was closing, I would have like spent those up or gave them to kids or something. And it's just because every time I went, they didn't have anything I wanted. And when it was Dave and Buster's, I got Nintendo DS as soon as they were new. I got a Wii when it first came out. Like, I really like, because I'm good with games, I got hooked up and like I, could even sell it. Like, I could make money off the stuff I was getting. But I was like smart about it, and I was also there a lot, and I was going with all different people, and especially when it first opened, and be like, "Oh, you got to check out this place; it's great." I don't know. Things are changing. Just it's everything can be done on your phone nowadays. They even have claw machines on your phone, and we're just becoming more of a society like that, especially the younger generation. And it's kind of sad, but it is what it is. So I decided to sign up because it looked pretty cool and I saw it on Facebook for this box called International Yums. And if right now we have the Austrian box, and that's the one for the month. They ship them out around the 15th. I got the package with including shipping and handling. It's only 25 bucks a month, and you get a really good amount for it. And I was very happy with this box so far. So there's only some items you're not gonna like, and it's like the good, bad, strange, and they ask you to like kind of review it. And because we have enough people and our radio listeners are gonna sponsor us and send us like a box a month for free, so we're gonna talk a little bit about it. And then the more people who have signed up and have the code, you guys get a discount and we get credit. So hey, why not? If there's already something I'm enjoying and I like the product, I might as well get some money or benefit other people off of it. But these were absolutely incredible. They're called Milt Wafflettes. Now they're strawberry cream filled wafers and they have chocolate. And you think like the Necco kind of candies or the wafers that were strawberry, and it's just like a strawberry wafer with strawberry filling. Like this blows them away. It's pretty small, like a quarter of the size. And it was in Austria, anise is a word for a particular fruit. And it's not bananas, it actually refers to pineapples and strawberry. So in the early 20th century, Austria had wild and farmed strawberries called Erdbeeren, but barely any pineapples, and those were anyas. Instead, you'd think apples, but it's not, or banana. So seeking to differentiate the strawberry varieties, Austrians decided to call the wild ones Erdbeeren and the farmed ones Anas, repurposing the unused word for pineapples. So everything was great, that is, until the 70s when Austrians started importing pineapples from the U.S. And since they already purposed the name Anas, they had to come up with a new name for the fruit. So they settled on Hawaiian Anas. So Hawaiian pineapple, that's what it became from. So they refer to strawberries by Anas or Erdbeeren. So you can use both to describe this creamy filling inside it. It was crispy chocolatey, and they don't like it was totally different. It was amazing. Like I'm so glad that it was just a couple pieces of it to try because I probably would have wolfed down the whole box. And right now I'm a little tied up and I don't have the full like ability to exercise. So I'm not putting on a lot of weight, but I'm not trying to. Pretty swollen from the accident. So I'm trying to like get it where once I'm like get the staples and everything removed, it's like literally like, okay, I can just kind of tone up, drop 5 pounds, and I'm like exactly back to where I would be or even better off. So these are amazing, these milk wafflettes. I mean, oh my gosh. That's like probably the best thing I ever had. And they only gave you two tiny ones in the pack. So I didn't share them with anyone. It was like completely myself eating it. And I don't really care because it's coming out of my pocket. But I then tried Kelly's Mini Fritz. Fritts, and they were creamy onion. Now, it reminds me of those cans of the potato sticks that come in like the blue can that you have growing up as a kid and you remember, but it wasn't as greasy and they were thicker and they didn't break as easy. So they say that Greeks aren't big on breakfast, but Austrians is totally different. They eat it all the time, like including 2 times a day. It started in northeastern Austria, where rural potato farmers needed more food to fuel the labor intensive harvest. So the farmers came up with two ideas to eat a second breakfast at 10 a.m. called Jaus And 2, to use their freshly harvested potatoes in a new dish for the occasion. The dish was a toast spread called, which I'm not sure how to say it, it's like cartoffelklace, and it means potato cheese, which is made from mashed potatoes, onions, and sour cream. Today, this remains one of the most popular Jaus, second breakfast dinner dishes in Austria. And it's so popular that it even inspired this oniony potato snack version. So this was like an amazing like snack. I mean, it says start free to eating at 10 a.m., but it's really like chips. And I mean, you probably could easily dip it even in some dip. They're not huge, but they were like sturdy. So if you want to kind of cap it in, unlike those, like I think they were French's potato sticks. And everyone remembers it. Just grew up and they had it in the blue can. It was just, I ate the whole bag. It wasn't even a big enough bag. These are all sample. They're smaller sizes in there. It was like a little bit bigger than like, the little pretzel bags or chips that you give your kids for lunch. More full to the top, and they were air packed, but oh my goodness, like I wish I could get them nearby in like the grocery store. I'll probably order some off Amazon. I mean, it was just a delicious treat. And then there's another one in Isoko Herberdine, that's what it is. And they're chocolate covered strawberries. And usually they represent romance, but not these. These were all about risk. So in 1960, Viennese confectioner Franz Hauswirth decided he needed more space for his candy making. So he took a huge gamble and moved the business from the bustling heart of Austria to the vast, sparsely populated farm street of Burgenland. But the real risk wasn't the lack of nearby customers. It was that it was new territory and it was only a mile from Soviet. So during the Cold War, the division between the USSR and the rest of Europe fell directly on Austria's eastern border, meaning that France's company stood at the very edge of the Western world. So his gamble paid off not only from the location ideal for exporting after the Cold War, but also smack dab in the middle of Austria's strawberry farming hub. The delicious result was dark chocolate covered treats filled with real strawberry mousse. And that these are like chocolate strawberries. They're so good. My friend went wild for it. It's got tons of reviews. I mean, and they give you a huge bag too. You get like 20 of them. And like this whole kit was like, nothing has been negative so far that we tried. I wasn't a big fan of the paprika chips, but my mom enjoyed them. So, I mean, it was kind of goes all over the place on who likes what in flavor. But as a whole, everything I tried was good. Maybe not just eat the whole bag, but still like definitely would give it another chance. We're going to go in another song break, and then we're going to wrap up our show. Don't forget, we're Upstate Eats. I'm your host, Katrina Lee. Check us out every Thursday from 8 o'clock till 9. Hey, welcome back. We're Upstate Eats. I'm your host, Katrina Lee. We are WRFZLP Rochester 106.3, RochesterFreeRadio.com. Coming next is Oztazan Show from 9 o'clock till 10. My other show is Beyond the Pole Life Without Shame, and that's from 10 o'clock till midnight. So 2 shows you get with me, 3 full hours on the air every Thursday. You can check both shows out on YouTube. I post about both shows on my Facebook and say when they're usually on. I have a lot of pages, things going on. I meet at the Charlotte Tavern on a pretty regular basis upcoming this week, and you can come visit and meet me in person. You can give me recipe ideas. We can chat. We can talk about all different varieties of topics. Come visit me. Check out this place. It's amazing food. I'm really excited for this opportunity. I'm getting back into the swing of it after years of working in the clubs and kind of working for myself. I'm real social, so I'm pretty excited. Laid up, so I can't do some of my normal jobs and activities as stunt doubling right now with a fractured neck and spine and a cast. But I am definitely able to whip up some drinks, cook, and serve some tables. So check me out. Come visit me. Charlotte Tavern. It's in Charlotte, right on Lake Road. Listen to the radio shows. Lots of events going to be upcoming, including hosting a band event on the 9th. And there's going to be a 24-hour radiothon where you can get baskets, prizes, and all different occurrences. 3 movies came out with me in it. Check it out. Check it out. Thanks for listening. Upstate Eats.